that was purchased on a recent vacation. There are legends of long ago that include former iconic Native leaders like Chief Sitting Bull, Pocahontas, Sacagawea, and Chief Standing Bear that memorialize the notion that American Indians exist only in the past during pre-colonization and pre-assimilation policy eras. Stories like these continue to perpetuate the idea that we are extinct like the dinosaurs, who once roamed the earth but remain showcased in outdated museum exhibits, dusty history books, names of sports teams, and thoughtless Halloween costumes that minimize our cultural heritage. To many non-natives, Native Americans are an element of an anthropological past, drawn on for trendy inspiration in fashion and modern venues like Ralph Lauren and Coachella that sexualizes our women and fails to address the modern social issues that we face today, like severe poverty, lack of running water, and missing and murdered Indigenous women. The false narrative that Native American people are a thing of the past is perpetuated in some of America's most watched and lucrative businesses that promotes racism through inaccurate cultural representations, like the NFL, Redskins name, or MLB, Cleveland Indians mascot, but fails to give back economic resources to help Indian country get basic necessities or remove toxic wastes that have been dumped on our lands. The perpetuation of a story that Native Americans are no longer here is a false narrative that does one of the most corrosive things that you can do to a group of people, which is to silence their voices and deem them invisible. This is the reason why I chose to participate in Mr. Balkowicz's project, because it works to reframe the Indigenous story and modern depiction of our people through the people who know it best, us, Native Americans. I also did it because the wet plate portrait process is also a special medium of the past that has been brought into the modern era to tell a modern story, a story that Native American people are no longer frozen in time. When this project is completed, these portraits will tell a story of 1,000 Native voices that depict immense Indigenous strength and survival throughout American history, because we are still here and still moving forward despite the hurdles. And I want to take a moment to talk about the clothing and the jewelry and the things that any of us chose to wear in these photographs. And during my session today, I wore a belt that my grandfather wore many times during the times he danced. It was woven a century ago, probably. And my black dress, which is called a munta, I had pins made out of silver dollars. And it's interesting that money didn't mean a whole lot to us, except that it made beautiful jewelry. And so when you see that on Navajo and Pueblo cultural clothing, that was a very largely used item. Our jewelry and our clothing is the story of 1,000 people, is one that can never be duplicated or misguided because it is our own and it belongs to us. These things have been handed down to us from generation to generation, from place to place, from language to language, and have endured many hardships to bring us where we are today, to share our own narratives of who we are and where we are going. Collectively, we have a responsibility to continue to pass these things and our stories down to the next generation, because we have been blessed with the Indigenous voices that are alive and present today to continue the story of the strength and unyielding endurance of our people and our heritage. It's time to elevate our collective voice to move issues forward so that we can create more prosperous paths for the younger generations. Again, I thank Shane Balkovich for forward-thinking vision in creating this project, and I am grateful for all the Indigenous voices who participate to tell our story, and I'm so grateful to all of you for being here and supporting this important project today. Thank you.